Good afternoon. This is John Mahany with the Florida Aviation Network, and I'm here in my home in Long Beach, California. And this afternoon, today would be Friday, August 21st, I'm here with Sandya Narayanswami, who's at her location up in Pasadena. And today we're going to talk to Sandya about her affiliation with the General Aviation Awards program. So, Sandya, tell me about the GA Awards program, please.
Well, John, first of all, thank you for having me on this webcast for the Florida Aviation Network. I'm very pleased and honored. The mission of the General Aviation Awards program is to recognize individual aviation professionals at the local, the regional, and the national levels for their contributions to aviation education and flight safety. The program is the oldest such award program in the United States. It's 50 years old. And it recognizes aviation professionals for a very wide range of contributions to the field of general aviation. The awards highlight the importance of safety, professionalism, and expertise in both the maintenance of aircraft, in flight instruction, and in having a strong safety culture. The program is a cooperative effort between the Federal Aviation Administration, the program itself, and a very large number of corporate supporters. And so we have a very collaborative structure, and it's always been that way. Let's see, the awards are annual, and the award winners are recognized annually at our venture at Oshkosh in July of every year.
Very good. In fact, I've attended those on a couple of occasions. And gosh, if we go back about 15 years, I was a local winner for Long Beach and the Western Pacific. That was, I think, in 03 and 05. So anyway, continuing, can you tell us how is the award competition structured, please?
Well, it's an annual RFP, and to use the language of applications for this kind of thing, it's a request for proposals. So we issue an open request for submissions every year. And the period is between July the 1st and, let me see, what's the deadline? November the 30th of every year, 5 p.m. Eastern. And between those two dates, nominees can submit applications. They're typically done through your local FSDO, your Flight Standards District Office, who are very much involved in the way the program runs. We have a selection through regional and national honorees. And at every stage, we have a panel of judges consisting of individuals nominated by the FAA and others who put the proposals through, quite a stringent set of screening criteria. So the awards are announced at 3 different dates in that period. You can find the deadlines on our website. I can quote them off my written notes, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. And so the honorees are announced on February 1. So the entire administration of the RFP takes place between July and February. That's our active period.
Okay, and I believe they come out with an email or somebody comes out, it's announced in one of many newsletters that, who the winners are and all that sort of thing. Okay, so let's see, and then who runs the awards?
We have a board who are primarily responsible for administering the entire RFP. The board consists of 8 people, and I'm very proud to say it's 50-50 men and women and about 25% minority. And I didn't really organize that on purpose, partly because I came on relatively late, but it's turned out that way. Most of the board members are themselves past honorees of the program. So these are very, very accomplished aviation professionals. And we've had, I think, people from all categories of award serving on the board. We have a professional treasurer who has a finance background. She's a CPA. And we have a fundraiser. And I'm the director, and I do the least probably. So we are responsible for maintaining the RFP, coordinating the process, making sure everything is done right, selecting the judging panel, and just making the whole thing work. Our profiles are all on the website. We have an FAA liaison, which is very important, Kevin Clover, who helps us communicate with the FAA. One of the highlights of the award process at Oshkosh actually is last year the administrator of the FAA made a separate award presentation, and so our FAA liaison helps us work with his office, for example, to coordinate that. A couple of things. Board vitality and the program's vitality depend on having new people on the board periodically. And I do have a request out to past honorees to consider board service and committee service on the program. This is how we remain engaged and enthusiastic and over the years. So we have opportunities for interested people to serve on the board in the various posts that are on the board and on our subcommittees. And so I encourage people to consider volunteering in aviation as a wonderful way to be of service to the industry and have a lot of fun and meet some very interesting people. Everybody on that board is more accomplished than I am. I have to give them credit. These are true professionals.
Well, in fact, I've actually met the one gentleman that you mentioned, Kevin Clover, who actually works out of Long Beach here remotely, but I met him some years ago, and he either with all things now, he might be out of his home, but he was working out of Long Beach FISDO, connected with the Washington, D.C. office. So anyway, just what do you know? So somebody local.
Okay. Okay. Yes, that's right. Yes, he is a local guy. Yeah. And he's great fun to work with. And I've learned a lot about the FAA just from him. I had no idea about anything until I got involved with this group.
No, I mean, when you speak about the FAA, there are so many different levels. And for many people that are just a private or recreational pilot, you know, they only know their end of it. But when you start to get into the industry, then you see all these other levels. And I wasn't aware of the whole award level until some years ago when the program manager for the FAA gave me this help. Hey, John, fill this out. What is this and why are you? Because I was doing a bunch of different things. I filled it out. And that's when, to my surprise, I actually won for Long Beach and the West. It's like, wow, what did I do? I mean, I'm just doing what I do, but it's like, oh, okay. So anyway, I have some familiarity with it. And that award actually parallels the master instructor program for all of the requirements that how can one do, but it really takes a concerted effort. I was able to get through there. So I am familiar with that. And as you go up the ladder, the competition gets very fierce. So to win on up the ladder, it's really something that the way they do that. So very nice. And how did you get involved with this, Sandya?
Sort of by a series of accidents. I'm a scientist, so I did research for years in molecular biology. I had a research lab. That was my life. I made a change into fundraising, and I fundraise specifically from private foundations for research. That's actually my career. I had a number of positions and I ended up at Caltech. And I discovered rather fortuitously that Caltech has a flying club. Who knew? They kind of keep it quiet. So I thought, oh my God, both my parents were in aviation. And I'd always wanted to learn to fly, but I never thought I could afford it. Most young people, or even non-aviation people, think it's actually more expensive than it is. So I contacted the club and I started flying. And I joined a number of Facebook pages, primarily Greg Brown's student pilot pep talk page, which is probably the best one out there. It's a very nice one. And Greg is a past honoree of the program. And I had mentioned, I think in passing, that I did fundraising. And he asked me if I was interested in volunteering on the board. So I thought, well, at my stage in my career, I'm looking for board positions. I should be on boards. A lot of people at this stage in a career are on boards. And so I thought, oh, this is extraordinary. I'm still not even licensed. So I decided to go with it. The board took me on as secretary. I was the board secretary for a couple of years, and then they asked me if I actually wanted to be the chair. So I said yes. Wow. So it was that. I think what it says is that there are volunteering opportunities out there for people who are interested, and that you should think about doing them if you have time, because you get to meet some very, very interesting people. And it has opened my eyes to general aviation in a way I never thought was possible.
And I guess adding to that, you are now meeting people higher up the food chain, as they say. So as opposed to the entry level, you're meeting
Yeah.
more accomplished people that have gone higher up.
Yes.
Itself too.
Yes, and it's quite extraordinary. I mean, for instance, here's a story. I was working on the preparation for my written test last year because I've been licensed only a year, and I opened the test prep book, chapter 9. It says scenario-based training, and it's Arlen McManus, the author. She's on the board. So I think, oh my God, these people are really, really very accomplished. So I was able to pick Arlen's brain for my check ride, which was really good. But it has brought me into contact with some incredible people. You know, at the cost of a few hours work every week, you know, a few hours a month. It's not a huge commitment.
Nice to know. Let's see. So what is your role?
Well, I'm the board chair. So my role is to call a board meeting every month. And then I do a lot of coordination among the various board members to make sure that we're all on track and we get to Oshkosh and the awards go smoothly. The rest of the board members, we have, Arlene manages the actual nomination process. So she's very, very good at just dealing with the nitty gritty of coordinating application, mailing, receipt, analysis. We have somebody he knows everything about getting the thing set up at Oshkosh. We have a person who is an expert on communications, press releases. And so I coordinate their activities. If they've got something they want to discuss, they can talk to me about it. I was asked to really participate on the board because I do know a lot about fundraising. So that's even though we have a fundraiser, I'm there to provide new ideas, you know. So a new idea we did a little GoFundMe fundraiser last year, which was very successful. We'd never done a GoFundMe before. So, you know, I'm trying to think of new ways to raise funding for this program. And I also act as a point person with anyone who wants to discuss the program. I'm the sort of front with the Florida Aviation Network, you know, communication outlets, all of those things. So I'm the public face.
Okay, so you kind of segued into your next. You know, why do you have, why do you have to raise money? You talked about fundraisers, but why?
Yes. Well, we don't have a huge budget, but we do have to get people from Oshkosh. The winners are from all over the United States. They could be from Alaska. So we offer them travel and hotel accommodation for the Oshkosh AirVenture Air Show. The costs include, you know, dinners, lunches, gatherings, facility rental at Oshkosh. We award each honoree with a custom plaque, and then they also have a permanent plaque at the EAA Museum. Many of our corporate sponsors provide in-kind gifts of various sorts for the honorees as an acknowledgement of their having won this award. We have to maintain our website. We have to file taxes because we are a non-profit. So we have to do that every year and pay a CPA. We have minor, modest general operating costs. And, you know, sometimes, for instance, because AirVenture was cancelled this year, it gave me a chance to put some focus time and attention on upgrading the website. So, you know, we hired a web manager, and there's a cost associated with that. So we do have to raise funds.
All things that you don't always necessarily think about, like, gee, how did you get here? Well, they provided my transportation. And in fact, one of the winners from a few years ago in Alaska, I used to work with when I was up there in the early 90s. So, you know, it's like, hey, what do you know? So, I mean, normally summer is a very busy time in Alaska, but he made the exception to travel down there for the award. So
it's quite a substantial cost every year. So, you know, we have to come up with the funds ourselves.
Yeah, it was nice surprise seeing Dean, whom I had worked with in the early 90s. So let me see. Very nice. So how can I find out more about the GA Awards and all that?
Well, the first place to go is the website. It's now totally upgraded and looks very nice. And you can contact any of the board members through the website. There are a couple of pages that describe the application process, list all the deadlines. We have, you know, board member bios. I would like to add a history page, actually, which I have been thinking about doing, because so that the history of the program is not lost. I've been publishing updates on the news tab because this year and last year's honorees have been getting out and about and being seen in the GA media. So we're very proud of that. Groups like FAN and, your organization are obviously critical in various aviation communities being able to know who we are without having to dig around in the online, Google. And, there are a number of GA outlets that we use to spread news. It would be nice to get a section in AOPA. Well, we were mentioned in the AOPA Flying Magazine this year. They did a profile on 2 of our honorees this year.
Okay.
So the August edition of AOPA has got quite a lot about this year's awards.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about the program, or?
Well, I would like to say that we're open for this year's round of applications because the submission process started July 1, and anyone who is interested in applying should talk to Arlene McMahon on our board, and so we welcome inquiries. Your FISDO probably can give you some guidance too, and if you know somebody you think is at the level to be considered for such an award, please encourage them to apply. We do best when we get a lot of applications, and we don't know who we're missing.
True.
We don't necessarily know who's out there who's deserving of an award.
And it just leads me to wonder, of the flight schools, for example, in the Los Angeles area, how many of them know about it, or who's at the schools would know about. I simply don't know. So,
No. I think even though it's a very old award, people don't necessarily know. Depending on where you work and what media you look at, you might be aware of this award, but not that award. There's more awards out there than one person seeing just a slice of GA is aware of.
Exactly. So it is to promote the journal aviation.
Right.
Simply,
this opportunity to talk to you is a really unusual and excellent opportunity to maybe get this award in front of people who wouldn't necessarily know about it.
Thank you. Yeah, as I think about it, just, Torrance, Long Beach, Fullerton, Cable, or wherever, you just wonder, just so there could be some potential winners in some of these locations that we simply don't know about. So just part of
I'm trying to get my CFI to apply, but he's very modest, and I think that's another thing. People are very modest about themselves.
Of course, right.
Which you really shouldn't be. Like, you were saying about your encounter with the FAA, it hadn't occurred to you to do that. But unless people put themselves forward, how are we ever going to know?
Exactly. I agree. Well, I think that about wraps it up. It's been interesting to learn from you more about this, more than I was aware of, since I've been part of the program and didn't realize all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I have gone to the luncheon, which has always been very interesting. But again, at the luncheon, I didn't know everything, as you're explaining it, that goes into the process. So interesting. And I've actually many of them. But again, you're presenting more of the picture, and I did not realize all that was behind the process. So nice to know.
Well, I'm glad this has been helpful and of interest. I encourage people who might be interested or know somebody who should be nominated to go to the website and nominate away. And, if they have questions, they can communicate with us directly and we can provide answers. And thank you very, very much for this opportunity to get the program out to, not necessarily a new community, but as part of our ongoing work at publicizing the RFP.
Oh, you're welcome. So yeah, for John Mahany, pleasure talking with you today, Sandya, and a chance to learn more about this. So for the Florida Aviation Network, John Mahany, thank you very much for your time.